but it's not working. Oh, there we go. It's working. I was scared for a second there. I'm like, dude, I switched over to StreamYard. I haven't had any issues with StreamYard. I thought it was spinning. I thought we were in trouble. All right, what's up, Fish and Friends? It says we're live. Hopefully we're live here. Somebody leave a something in the comments to let me know that we're working here. Kind of scared me for a minute today because I've hit the live thing and it wasn't working. I see we got people joining, so it looks like we're good. I have a hey from Dan White. What's up, Dan White? All right, well, what's up, Fish and Friends? It is myself and the Dizzle tonight. Kind of short notice. Dizzle and I went fishing today. Kind of got my butt kicked, but I was like, dude, you want to do a live tonight? And there he is.
We went casting today. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, we went casting and micro dink fishing. That's what I'm just going to say. We went micro fishing, right?
Yeah, I felt bad for a couple of those that, I mean, everybody's going to know that I was tossing a jig and that's what I caught him on. Actually, I didn't even catch him on a jig. God, what was it? It was, God.
I didn't see what
Ned.
You caught him on.
It was a Ned with a little,
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, what was on there?
It was, God, I don't remember what it was. It was a craw of sorts. I just remember them breaking apart. Like one fish, I had to put a new one on. Second fish, new one on. It was a bum out. But I felt bad. I felt bad for those little guys. Like I set the hook like it was.
Your Herculean Dizzle hook sets? Yeah, you do. Then you hear stuff ripping. All right, Fish and Friends. Well, tonight we really don't. If you can't tell, we don't have like a strict agenda tonight. I try to come in with like kind of an outline. The only thing I came in with tonight was fishing etiquette is something I wanted to touch on real quick because today we were bank fishing. Dizzle and I were fishing from a little rocky fishing jetty. You know, it looks like a little peninsula. Casting and literally a boat just, I mean, he was going down the other side, probably, 100 yards from us?
I was having to pull back my cast.
Well, yeah, so we saw him coming down the thing, and Randy made the comment of, is this dude really going to do this? Sure enough, he comes down around the U, and Randy said he was casting, and the guy was casting at his cast where it landed in the water, which, okay, that's on the fringe of being like, come on, dude. But then dude just kept going around the thing right in front of me, and I casted like right in front of him. I could have hit his boat, and he's just staring at me like, what in the hell are you doing, dude? And then I just let another cast rip right behind him. I'm like, how inconsiderate can you be? Like, literally, he's got the whole lake, you know?
Yeah.
And I've seen people comment on this stuff before, and I try not to be negative on my channel, but there's a couple times that's happened to me, and it's just like, I think, yeah, Fat Guy Bassett said, was it a nitro boat? Very well could have been, actually. I think it might have been a red silver nitro, actually. But I was just laughing because, like, Randy's like, dude, he's like, I think dude was just oblivious. And I don't know, you said something else, and I was just like, dude wasn't oblivious. Dude knew exactly what the hell he was doing. He just literally didn't care. Like,
I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt of, oh, it kind of looked like we may be packing up to move and things like that. But then it's like when I cast it out and he's like, I almost thought I heard him say, let's swim him in a pack. I'm like, buddy, it doesn't work that way. We're going two different ways. I mean, super, super frustrating. And it's like, I know personally I've been out on a boat before and, you know, we're working the bank, we're working the shoreline, things like that. And if we ever saw somebody on a jetty, working the bank, same thing, we're going to go out and around them, give them plenty of leeway, man. It's like,
sure the thing, yeah.
You got to. You can't just, you can't do it.
I don't know, dude. I'm not going to spend too much time talking on it because we're not here to be negative. It's Saturday night, damn it. We're here to have whatever beverage you choose. We're here to talk fishing and have a good time. So I did see my guy, Nick Costa, in the comments. Nick, I actually just got some reels from Nick. Randizzle got a reel from Nick. I ended up letting him use one. He hornswoggled the reel from me and took it and threatened to push me in. So, Nick, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you, good sir. So what do we got tonight? Everybody leave a comment in the side if you've got questions, whatever it is we want to talk about. Except Randall Pink Floyd, I'm going to ban you from the chat now real quick. You and my buddy Matt can be in your own chat. If you keep that sort of talk up, you will be banned from my stream forever. I'm kidding. Mr. Floyd, I do owe you some painted crankbaits. Bait Claws, I'll call him, has sent me some baits to paint, and I've still not done it. But I've got incentive to save those and paint some baits really soon in some videos. I know it's not everybody's thing, I get that, but I'm actually working with somebody on a couple little projects, so I'll have some bait painting stuff coming very soon. And I am going to do some of your blanks that you sent me. I'm saving it for that. So thank you very much, sir.
Were those the wiggle warts, Debo?
Yep, he sent some pre-wrap wiggle warts. He sent a bunch of cool stuff like the flatfish. We call them lazy ikes. Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. So, I mean, people like you, Mr. Floyd, everybody else that sends me stuff, like I've said before, means the world to me. Anybody who donates on stream, like I said, I never ask you guys to do that, but it always amazes me how many folks that we have. My guy Ray has donated. We've got so many different people that have donated. It means the world to me. It really does. So thank you all, whoever does that. Appreciate it a ton. So leave your comments. I'm going to try to get to those as we're going through. Of course, if you have something really specific or you really want focused, anybody who leaves a donation, I always make sure to get every single one of those in case it's an important question. I will go over that and cover it. But so we're just going to kind of go over what's been working for us, what's not been working for us. Randizzle and I went today. It was rough. It was a damn grinder. I think I caught 4 fish total. Like a pound and a quarter was probably my biggest. Like,
I think I caught 2. I think I missed 2, and a pound and a quarter would have been phenomenal for a total weight between the 2 that I caught. It's just, we had a super huge cold front. What was it? We had a frost advisory Friday night that it was going to get that cold, that it was going to potentially be freezing. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Is it not May? How are we still getting frost?
I don't know. Yeah, we went out today and it was 32 degrees when we started. Like, what in the heck, Iowa? Come on. I had 2 coats on and overalls. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what's happening. Like, we had fish on beds. Yeah, we had fish on beds a while, 2 weeks ago. We were catching. Not
even last week.
Was that last week?
I think that one that 403. Ago, right? I think that was last week. Potato. It's I
don't know.
Very recent. Yeah.
Randizzle, once again, this is like the reoccurring theme. What's that been? 2 years ago? I was throwing a swim bait at a bedded bass, and I'm not like a huge bed fisherman. Like, I'm not going to spend an hour or 2 on, like, that's not my thing. But I'll throw, a dozen throws to try and catch one and then let them back so they can go right back to their bed.
Mm-hmm.
But I threw, a dozen, maybe even 2 dozen. It was a decent sized fish. I walked away. Randizzle threw the jig at it a couple times, hooks it, and then says, "Oh, Debo, you want to hold this fish?"
Wait, are you talking about like last 2 weeks ago?
That was 2 years ago.
Like
no, that was 2 years ago. So then 2 weeks ago, I had a Matt Lures bluegill. I had a couple people ask me to get one and try it. That's like last year. I got it like a soft plastic where the hook is already molded into it. They're like $20, I want to say. Not cheap. They look spot on though. Like for a soft plastic,
really good.
Super good. Mm-hmm. And it was a pretty big fish. Randizzle and I saw, and I'm like, dude, here we go. I'm gonna try to catch it. Flipping this Matt Lures bluegilling on the bed. She picked it up a couple times. I set the hook a couple times. She literally just had the tail, and I think on like the 4th hook set, it ripped the tail off. And they're like, it's a pretty strong swim bait. So I'm like, oh great, $20 down the drain. I left, and like literally, I don't know, 5 casts, 6 casts behind me. I hear, oh boy.
It was just it was one of those perfect ones. And I'm not one to go out and search out fish on a bed, but if I see a big fish on a bed, I'm gonna cast at it a couple of times. And this was perfect. You did the good thing for me, and you pissed it off enough where it was interested in whatever came through that bed. So I owe at least a 1/6 of that fish to you, so thank you for that. But it was one of those perfect, toss the jig out there, run it through the bed, stop it right in the middle of the bed, and you see the fish, and then it straight nose down on it, and then you see the gills flare, and it sticks it in the mouth. And I had actually casted a a Ned rig out there prior to that, and I'd missed it a couple of times because, I'm more of a bait caster type of person, and that was on a spinning rod. And I just don't feel as comfortable with the big hook set as I do on a spinning rod, or excuse me, on a bait caster as I do as a spinning rod. And I just hook set. I was really kind of disappointed. It was so close to the shore, though. It was like hook set, half a reel. It was on the shore. So I didn't get to play it too much.
Yeah, I would have been real disappointed catching a 4-pounder that close to shore too. That's tough. Fishing the Southeast was a winner of one of my giveaways. That's been a couple weeks ago. And Fishing the Southeast won my guy Burley's giveaway the same night. You won 2 giveaways on the same night. You lucky dog. Hopefully you should get a lottery ticket. Here in Iowa, it's like 300 million. Man, what I could do with 300 million. Can you imagine how many unboxings I could do for 300 million? Ooh, I'd be the leader of unboxings.
Ooh, you could do a $30 million unboxing.
Largest unboxing ever. Cops called because it was so big. Lottery won.
Cops called, safe found.
Yeah, safe found, all this.
Shots
what
fired.
Do we got here? Let's see. Mountain Man, or MA Truth. Sorry, I thought that I had the wrong one there. Debo taught me how to be technical on my gear and knots, how to spool, casting, just all around awesome guy. Well, you're one of the few people to say that I'm awesome. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, and that's like, I actually had somebody the other day call me a stepping stone YouTube channel. Hold on, I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Bassin, New Mexico Bassin. Zoggy, let's see. How do I, Fishing for Gramps. Hey, Fishing for Gramps is in here. Yesterday was tough. 3 dinks, 15.2 quarter incher and 16. Dude, I'd have been stoked to catch those. I was catching like micro dinks today. It was rough. My guy Hella's in here. Pike we're chewing today. Dude, I would take a full day of pike. I think pike are underrated.
Hold on here, Debo. Let me just jump in real quick. I told you I was going to do this, and I'm going to do it right now just because you brought it up. So today we're out there, we're fishing. We just happened to go by one of the spots that we always fish, we always hit, and you're about 50-50 whether you're going to catch a decent bass or you're going to stick a pike. And you look out there and the pads are already starting to come up. It's kind of getting a little scummy on top. And I see the smoke come off of DEBO'S tires to peel into the to the parking lot to get over there and throw a frog. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm looking through all the big tote I have in the backseat of my truck. And I'm like, I don't have any topwater stuff in my truck yet, just because, weather's crazy and whatnot. But DEBO'S out there, he's casting. And, guys, I don't have any kids, but I felt like a proud papa today. DEBO casts out there, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but the tone and the cadence and everything about it was like, when you have a kid and they get their first bite or whatever it is, he turned around and said something like, "Oh, I had a little one bite it," or "a little one hit it," or something like that. And I was like, "Attaboy, DEBO, get up."
I'm proud of you, fella. Throwing a frog, and I had something little pop it and blow up on it today. I haven't caught a topwater fish yet this year. Like I said, it was 32 when we went out. I think it was 50-something when we left. It was a grinder, but that made my day. Some little fish blew up on my frog. I didn't hook it, but, man, I cannot wait to get some topwater fish. Okay, Zoggy, let's go Knicks. Thanks for D-Rose. Hey, I mean, I'm a D-Rose fan too, as long as he can stay healthy. Poor guy. And then I saw another one, Dan White. As a bank fisher, what scenario, if ever, would you rather be throwing a Carolina rig over a Texas rig? To me, they're two complete different things for completely different stuff. So, like when I used to throw a Carolina rig, I used to throw on a lot, but it was like a Midwest fandangled DEBO janky Carolina rig. Like I didn't take time to do the bead and all that. Like I would have a swivel with some whatever plastic you want hanging off of it. I would do like a bullet weight, and then I had like a bunch of these old brass, I don't even know what they were, brass or like glass bead looking things, and put one of those on. So it was like I wouldn't do the red bead. Like some people say you have to have like the brass ring thing, then a red bead, and then a weight and all this crap. I just had like the janky like worm weight, one of these little bead things, swivel, and then my lure. To me, that's more for like dragging, and it's different from the boat than a bank, because I mean, guys from boat, you can drag that like in ditches. You can drag it in and around ditches. You can drag it in like little riverbeds, I guess is probably what it would be on a lake. As a bank angler, you can throw like, whether it's a Carolina rig, jig, whatever you want, to just kind of throw stuff and drag it to find contours and find stuff on the bottom. My problem with doing that on a Carolina rig is you tend to get caught up in stuff. So like to me, a Texas rig is the best way to do that. And a Texas rig is my go-to for any sort of like thick, gnarly cover, brush, timber, just because of how weedless it is.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I've never thrown a Carolina rig before in my life. The only experience I've had is I think old Johnny had them rigged up one time on the river when I was up at the Mississippi fishing with him. And besides that, any other time that I've ever seen them was walking through the fishing aisle at Walmart, and I saw the pre-packaged, just tie your line onto the snap swivel on the top, and there you go, you get a Carolina rig. But outside of that, I'm a Texas rig guy, whether it be pinned or not pinned, bobber stop or no bobber stop, any combination of the four. That's pretty much my go-to if I'm not throwing a jig, of course.
Yeah, same. And like, dude, you can go down so many rabbit holes with those. Like for me, a Carolina rig is like a harder bottom, like gravelly type bottom, something where you can like legit drag and feel stuff. Now you can even go even more finesse than the Carolina rig and go to a mojo rig, or like guys will call it a split shot rig. I've even thrown, I call it just the poor guy's Texas rig, which like when you put your Texas rig on, you put two stops. So you put a bobber stop, you put your worm weight, you put another bobber stop, and essentially if you pull those all down, it's a Texas rig, right? It's all pinned together. But if you take both those bobber stops and pull them up, you've essentially got a Texas or a Carolina rig. So you've got the worm weight that's pinned, and then you've got just a floating plastic back here. So like you can even try that if you want to go between the two. That's something I've tried and messed with before. You don't get the clack. You don't have the swivel where, if this is back here doing stuff, you can still kind of get some line twist. But like the big thing, and the reason I've done that is because if I'm going back and forth between wood and grass, if you're flipping and pitching wood with your Texas rig pinned where it's all together, and I unfortunately don't have one close, but everything's all pinned together, you can flip and pitch that into the gnarly stuff. But if you take and slide that all up, like you get along a grass line, you can flip that same rig in and the weight will go down and hit the bottom, but your plastic will kind of hang up in that grass. And I've had a number of times where fish, bass are patrolling the outside of that grass, or you're trying to hit those like little circles in the grass to focus on those fish inside there. And it just looks more natural, right? If you throw a pegged Texas rig in, the whole thing's going to the bottom, right? But if you throw like a makeshift Carolina rig that I'm talking about, where you slide that all up, you throw it out and the weight's going to go bloop, and then this plastic is going to kind of be gliding behind it, right? Depending on what you have, it could be like a big worm or a beaver bait or whatever you want to put on, rage bug. It just kind of gives it a more natural fall. So it's essentially like doing a non-pegged Texas rig, but instead of that weight sliding back and forth, it's just stuck there.
So let me ask, I guess, just being, who I am, and I don't know a whole lot about the Carolina rig, is that basically saying like you take a Carolina rig and essentially you could do the same thing if you didn't have any type of pin on a Texas rig per se, or like you just had your weight free floating, I guess? Is that essentially the same thing? Sans all of the beads and the clackers and the what have yous?
I'm not sure what you mean.
So one of the things that I kind of talked about earlier is taking a Texas rig and not putting any type of bobber stop on there. And literally, if your spool held 150 yards, you casted 150 yards out, your weight could go anywhere within that 148 yards minus whatever you tied up for your actual lure. Is that kind of what you're saying, or not really?
I'm not sure what you're saying at all. You've lost me. We'll come back on this.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. But like, for example, like when me and my old man would used to throw Carolina rigs, or he would throw them, like to me, it was a dead summer, like stuff is super hot. And like when you're dragging a Carolina rig, you're literally, that's the only way I've ever fished it, is like, you're literally just taking your rod and dragging it to the side because you can't buy a bite. So it's like, you're fishing like submerged humps or like riverbeds is what we used to do. I'm not an expert at the Carolina rig, but that's the only way I've ever fished it. And you're painstakingly slowly dragging that. And it's that like very subtle action of the weight moving in this plastic back here. You can get into different stuff. Oh, one thing I was going to say was the Mojo rig, which is like a downsized Finesse Carolina rig or a split shot rig. Different ways you can do it. I mean, it can be as simple as you take a split shot, like the old sinkers that you crimp, right? You crimp them with your pliers. You crimp that with like a foot or 2 foot leader or whatever, and throw that out with like a little Texas rig bait behind it, weightless. And then that little sinker is going to drop. And I've had really good luck with that, like a Finesse type deal, because it's so light, or that'll like go in the grass. So like, let's say I'm fishing 7 foot of water, and that grass is growing up like 3 feet. I can throw that Mojo rig in there, and you've got the weight kind of coming down in the grass, but your plastic kind of stays up above the grass the whole time. So you can kind of work it through that. Whereas if you had a Texas rig pegged, or like a shaky head or something, it's always dropping through that grass, and you're just trying to plow through that grass, right? So just kind of a different presentation. You have to play with it. It works some places it doesn't. Like got to try it in your spot. But hopefully that helps. That was kind of a long tangent, Dan. Hopefully that's helpful. Good golly.
Yeah. Anyway,
I saw a couple other come through. Who else do we have?
Let's see, I'm just looking through also. Oh, Nick, it was left-handed. God, what was it? The left-handed DC.
Oh, yep.
Good. DC 151.
SLX DC.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is.
Randizzle took the SLX DC, Nick.
Oh, man. It's butter.
He likes it so far. Oh, we might have a DC guy, Shimano guy. Let's see. Jonathan says, everyone seems to live tonight. You're definitely the winner. Can't wait to catch the first part later. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. I know Baxter's streaming tonight. Baxter the Bait Man at 8. So if you guys want to leave mine and go check out his, I'm not going to be mad. He is a super nice guy. He's talking frogging tonight. So I might just put Randizzle in charge, and I might just go watch him stream, because
it's just going to be me watching that stream of you guys talking to each other, making comments.
Ray, hey, my guy Ray, would consider doing Pike how-tos, best combos, baselines. Yeah, I'm not a Pike like aficionado. Like for me, honestly, the best ways I've caught him is spinnerbait. Like topwater can honestly vary. Like Pike will hit almost anything. If you can find Pike and like where they're at, I think that's the biggest thing is, grass lines, drop offs, especially like once the water starts to warm up, you can get hit on a number of different things, buzzbait, topwater, walking bait, frogs, we frog fish with them.
Yeah.
But
so my experience up in the Okoboji area, I was talking to some guy at the local baits shop up there by Spirit Lake, and he always told me that they're literally going to, bite and eat the exact same thing a bass is going to be. And the only difference is, have those pikes scared away all the bass in the area? Because if you're fishing an area and you're seeing bass, primarily you're not going to run into any pike because, they haven't scared away the bass yet. But if you start catching pike, chances are, if you don't want to catch any more pike, you got to leave that area because they push them all out, because they're a little bit more of a higher tier predator than what a bass would be. So that's really about the only thing I know about them. And they stink and they're slimy.
I love catching them. I think they're fun. I don't think they get enough love. Let's see. Hey, my guy Greg's in here. Me and my wife went kayak fishing all day yesterday at a family pond. Caught 10 or so dinks, no donks. Dude, anytime you get a tug on the line, whether it be a dink or donk, it's a good day. I wish I could have caught 10 today and made a video. I struggled all day to catch 4. Like, it was just, those are the days I leave going, why do I have a YouTube channel? I literally don't know what I'm doing out here today. I tried everything. And it's just one of those days where you get humbled,
Those are the same days where I like chase him down and try to slap him in his face. Be like, dude, get out of your own head. It happens to everybody.
You do that even on the other days when I'm not doing that. You just want to slap me.
But still, I don't give you the words of encouragement on those other days. Come on,
that's true. Yeah. Let's see. We had one more come in, and then we're going to talk about what actually has been working for me. Today was a grind. Let's see. I think it's this one. Mike. Mike says, just want to say thanks for all the great content. Oh, well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate everybody who has donated, all the kind words. Like I was actually just talking to another YouTuber about this a couple days ago. And I said, dude, I've been pretty lucky. Like I don't have trolls or, people just coming in to drop hate. I've got 181 people in here and maybe I missed one, but I haven't seen any like negative comments, and that's awesome. And if you did leave a negative comment, I'm not going to touch on it because you're probably the guy in the nitro that cut me off today. So, what's working for me lately? So for me, dude, it's a confidence bait, the spinner bait. Anytime I've got a little bit of stain in the water, and some sort of something breaking the water up, so like a little bit of ripple is my favorite. A little bit of cloud cover kind of acts the same way because it disguises, what's up top, but kind of dingy water with a little bit of like wind. And right now, like during the spring, you're going to get a lot of that. You don't have a lot of the days where it's just like dead calm, like you get in the summer, because you got fronts continually coming through. Like we've seen, we had a day where it was like what, 85?
Yeah, it's close to 90. Yeah.
Yeah. And then today it was 32, like when we went out. Come on, Iowa. Let's get it together. But Mid South Fisherman said, "Damn, you suck." Just kidding. Yeah, I deserve that, bro. But that's the way it goes. Sometimes is like you've got the fronts coming through. You have to learn how to fish them. And getting out on days like this, like I just saw a buddy of mine fished a kayak tournament over in Brushy Creek. I didn't see what my guy Casey. I don't know if you're on tonight, but he said last year he got like 11th place, and then he got way better this time. And then another local guy got second on it. Obviously, it's an Iowa deal, but he was catching good fish. Whereas me, I struggled to catch 4 fish all day. And like you see it not only in different lakes, it's kind of hard to compare because we were fishing completely different lakes today. We didn't have a boat. We were fishing from the bank. So we found a few. If I could have got to more wood, like I switched. I said, dude, Randy, I'm going to go flip to this wood. I was throwing a Nico or a Neko rig, however you want to say it, at some wood. And literally my first cast caught one, and like 3 casts later caught another one. And I think if we could have replicated that around the whole lake, I probably would have caught more fish. But again, fishing from the bank, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, definitely. I totally 100% agree with that. And it's just like, we're going to fish whatever we can fish. And I say it 100 times, and it's just getting out there and trying and putting forth the effort to actually try to catch the fish, because if you don't, then you're never going to catch them,
Yep. And like, but dude, it happens even with the pros. Like I was talking to another guy about that the other day on Instagram, and like literally you can be top of the top. Like you think fishing is hard. You go to a boat ramp where you've got 100 other guys that are studs, 50, whatever it is, dudes that are hammers, studs, can catch fish anywhere. And you go out on the same lake as them and try to catch more fish than them. Like that's hard. And you see guys that are professionals that do this for a living go out and not catch fish, so you can't feel bad about it, dude. Fishing will humble you so quick. Like today I was like, why do I even have a YouTube channel? How do I even have 100 subscribers? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing today. And then there's other days where I'm like an hour in, I'm like, I've got it dialed. I know exactly where these fish are going to be. I know what I need to do. So anyway,
those are always
Ray,
the fun days,
See, even Ray pronounces it Nico.
It's a written word. You can't.
Nico. I've got a couple subscribe fishing friends that always kind of cringe whenever I put it on YouTube. They're like, Debo, come on, it's Neko, not Nico. I said, hey, I'm from the Midwest. I call it Nico. So okay, what else? Let's answer a question. Randizzle, have you seen anything you want to answer? We're kind of all over.
Gene, it looks like Gene, do you carry more than one frog setup? Question mark poppin / swimming, or different styles and colors? I'll jump in there first of all. Like for me personally, when it gets to that kind of frogging kind of time of the year, I'll say that I'll carry 2 primary frogging rods. One of those being, a little bit stiffer of a setup. So if we happen to find those pike, I feel a little bit more comfortable throwing that. And then one of more your traditional frogging rod that is, it's got a little bit more give and feel and sensitivity and things like that, where I don't have to necessarily worry about, or excuse me, I have to worry a little bit more about feeling that bite versus a pike is just gonna like blow it up. And then in the same breath, I'll carry a third rod that is also another topwater bait, whether it be a Dahlberg or something along those lines, buzz bait, something like that. And yeah, I'm one that I would rather carry more rods and have more options and have to continually cut stuff off and tie up new stuff. And I hate doing that.
Yeah. One of my buddies, one of my fishing friends is texting me here on the Instas. I'm going to see if I can get him commenting in here because he just said the other day I've never called him out, which I have. But so yeah, do I carry multiple frog combos? Yes. If you're ever in doubt, yes, always carry multiple frog combos. But I carry like a lighter frog combo and then my heavier kind of regular frog combo. So like for 1/2 ounce-ish frogs and heavier, like I 7.2-ish to 7.5-ish, depending on what you like. Heavy power, generally rated for lures like up to 1.5 ounces. And then I carry something lighter. So if I'm throwing like a little 1/4 ounce, like smaller frog, if I'm throwing a weightless plastic frog, which isn't technically weightless because I always use like a little bit of weight on the bottom of the hooks just to make
like
sure it rides belly down.
Kicking feet frogs, right?
Yep, like a Strike King, I don't know, Zoom Horny Toad, like the actual soft plastics that are a frog that have a real subtle kind of plop to it. I make sure I carry those too. Everything else, if you carry more, you're welcome in my boat or area anytime because I appreciate that. I love frogging. I don't know where I was going with that, but that's what I'm saying on there. So what else do we have? I saw a couple. Bulldog. I never use a frog except in summer and the pads mostly. Am I missing the boat? Yes. I can't say it enough. Yes, yes, yes. So like you can fish a frog around anything you would normally fish at topwater. And I think this is why the frog doesn't get enough love is, it's this big, soft, plasticky, rubbery looking thing. And like people are just kind of scared of it. Like it doesn't really look natural. But you have to remember the fish are looking up at it. So it doesn't really matter what the whole thing as a whole looks like. They're just seeing this commotion, right? So if you've got grass lines, if you've got shady wooden overhangs, like I had a killer day. Whoop, I think we lost Randizzle. I don't know what happened there. I had a day last year where I was skipping a frog under shady overhangs and destroyed it. Like awesome day. So, you can bring it by like logs, wood, submerged stuff. It doesn't just have to be like the really thick, gnarly pads to throw a frog. So keep one tied on, throw it more, especially if you don't have a lot of confidence in the frog. Just keep it tied on and throw that baby. Let's see. What else do we have? I saw a couple other donations come in here. Team Bass Pack. Hey, Debo, what trailers do you use for flashy swimmers? Do you use bait caster or spinning reels? Also, do you use finesse jigs? If so, what ones? That's a lot of questions, man. So what trailers do I use for flashy swimmers? I'm guessing you're meaning like what soft plastic paddle tails do I use? Generally, it's going to be like, it depends on the size. Like you can get them in little tiny like 1 and 2/0 for like maybe a 3-inch swim bait. Something like the 5/0 I want to say is what I throw the little or the skinny dipper on from Reaction Innovations. That's my go-to. But really there's so many different paddle tails out there now. You've got like Rage Swimmers, Kitex, all that different stuff you can throw them on. But generally for me, it's like a soft plastic paddle tail is when I use a flashy swimmer. Baitcaster or spinning reel on all my bigger stuff, I would say like a 1/4 ounce up probably. I'm always going to use a baitcaster. I've got some little like 1 or 2/0. I don't remember the size. I think they're an 1/8 ounce that I've got some little tiny ones that I throw on a spinning reel. I don't throw those a ton, generally the bigger stuff. Do I use finesse jigs? I do use finesse jigs. Randizzle got me into those. I don't know where he went. I'm going to have to text him here. He somehow disappeared. But I do throw finesse jigs. He actually got me into that. If so, which ones? So he's a huge fan of the War Eagle Finesse jigs. Dude, there's so many on the market. I'm trying to think. Like the Luke Clausen jig from Dirty Jigs is one of my favorites. I've been making my own now with do it mold stuff. I don't even know. There's a ton of them, but yeah, experiment with them. Try to get, if you're fishing from the bank, try to go with as light as you can get away with and still keep bottom contact. Like that's the big thing for me. But yeah, try them out. Zoggy, any plan for live stream fishing with Randizzle? No, we've never talked about doing like an actual live stream fishing deal. That'd be fun. I just know in a lot of the places that we fish, I don't even get a service, which stinks. I tried to do a couple of those online tournament deals where you like take a picture and then upload it. And the ones that I tried to do, I couldn't even get service to do. So I don't know. I'd be down if it was somewhere where I could get service. I would certainly be down for it. And I think there was one more that came in. Jesse, was there anybody else above Jesse? Okay. DB Vids helped me catch my PB last week. Awesome, dude. Congrats. Thank you. What's your... Oh, there he is. He's back here. What's my sipping drink of choice? Man, tonight just a little Coke Zero. That's all we're doing. Dizzle, we lost you there for a minute, man.
Okay, so apparently if your phone is plugged in, sometimes it's not always plugged in. So I need to mute that. Okay, so I think it's plugged in now. So I did unmute my TV to listen. Somebody was talking about jigs. I think I heard jigs, or did I hear something about jigs?
We talked about finesse jigs. I did go over your War Eagle finesse jigs. I stated that you got me into the finesse jig game big. And I don't know what happened there. Yeah, Ray EB said that outside of Walmart connection. Randizzle's actually in his van right now outside of Walmart hacking into their internet. I'm kidding.
Okay, so I do need to say, Debo, it was crazy the other day. I was at Bass Pro Shop and I was walking around and I'm like, where is everything? Like, they cut down, so usually they have that big island in the middle and they got reels all the way around it. Some of the big like offshore saltwater stuff, which why here? I don't know. Anyway, and it was all cut down. They didn't have anything for rods. And yet again, the War Eagle selection is like nil. And then I started looking for trailers and they didn't have any of those. And I was actually on the phone with Debo at the time. He was going fishing. He didn't invite me, but
you were 2.5 hours away.
It was like an hour, maybe.
The way you drive. My guy Hellabass, I will remind you all, Baxter the Baitman has a live tonight as well. So if you didn't catch that, his live was at 8. If you want to jump out, Hella said he was going to go support him and talk frogs. Go flood his channel after we're done here. We'll probably go for an hour or so. Or if you want to jump and go over to his, he's a super good guy talking frogs tonight. So I am not going to be mad if you go flood his, but he's a good guy. We try to support each other. Here he is, Fat Boy Fishing. Debo uses the hottest finesse jigs in the game. His. Wrong. I caught fish on your swim jigs, my guy. He said that I didn't. He's never been the subscribe fishing friend. I think this proves that you haven't watched all my videos, Nick. I have called you the subscribe fishing friend before, but you're coming up in another one. I appreciate you, brother. He's one of my guys that we've met online, like literally didn't know him before, and we just chat back and forth and laugh. And it's crazy how you meet people online, right? But my guy Fat Boy Fishing is one of those dudes. Good dude. We've sent each other lures and stuff. Nice guy. I
see you're rubbing off on him a little bit. He asked me if I was keeping extra scissors on me.
Dude, they're so handy. If you guys don't keep scissors in the truck, I would do that. They're so handy. Hey, Walmart booted him off again. What is he doing? Did he not have his phone charged and ready? Come on, Randall. My guy Rob asked, do you like polarized lenses, and do you have any general rules for lens color? Absolutely. If you don't fish with polarized lenses, you're at a disadvantage. And if you don't know what that means, like polarized lenses, when you look through regular glasses, you still see the glare on the water. If you have polarized glasses, like it cuts the glare off. It's kind of hard to describe unless you've ever like worn both and have noticed the difference. But like it literally takes that glare off so you can see down in the water. So if you're not fishing with polarized glasses, get some. I mean, I've used everything from the cheap like Strike Kings you can get at Walmart to now I've got Wiley X's, and the only reason is because our Gander Mountain went out of business, so I got them for like 80% off. But I mean, you can go super expensive. Costas are like $100 and some ridiculous dollars, but a good way you can test them. I don't have 2 pair of glasses here, but a good way you can test polarized glasses is if you have 2 pair of polarized glasses, like they're both like this. If you flip one perpendicular to it, the lens will go black. So like if you have 2 pair of glasses here, just like this, and you flip it up, the lens will go black. A good way to test them, but yeah, if you're not fishing with polarized glasses, grab some. Hopefully that helps, Rob. What else? I think I saw a couple other donations coming here. I want to get to those. Maybe I'll have to put this money toward a non-Walmart connection for Randizzle. Non-toxic. If you've got a question, please leave that in the chat. I'll try to get to you. Oh, here we go. Ever try the, I'm assuming you're saying, yeah, the Kitech Crazy Flapper. Do you like it? If not, what's your go-to creature bait? I've not tried those. I want to say they like started to discontinue those, and they had a bunch of them on clearance. I've never tried them. I don't have a picture or anything to show you all, but it's like kind of a bigger, almost reminds me of like a brush hog with more flappiness to it. I've never used them. Go-to creature baits of choice. A baby brush hog, actually, where I fish, does a lot better than like the full-size brush hog. The full-size brush hogs are pretty big. And I think actually Zoom came out with like a medium-sized, which I haven't used. I think I grabbed a pack. But those would do a lot better around here. The actual brush hog's kind of stout though. So baby brush hog, you can go like with a Reaction Innovations Man Bear Pig. I just grabbed, do I have my, hold on, I'll be right back. I just grabbed some power bait stuff here. I put in an order. Ben Nowak was talking about these on a video, and I'd seen them a while back, and I wanted to grab some. I might have already put them in my bag. They are called, I don't even remember what they're called, but they're like a little creature bait from Berkeley. And I might have already put those in my bag. Oh, no, here's some. I got some green pumpkin in this color. They're called a Critter Hog. So these guys are only 4 inches. These look really good to me. And, of course, they're in that power bait, gross smelling stuff. Kind of a weird texture, but these are kind of like a baby brush hog / man bear pig. What is it Missile Baits calls it? The Missile Baits Destroyer or Baby Destroyer? Man, there's a ton of these on the market. But essentially what you're looking at with like a creature bait kind of like this is, you know, it's kind of got that worm body that's like just over 2 inches for the body. And then the rest of it is like these little weird legs. And then it's got essentially like a twin tail grub at the back of it. So it's just a different cool look. Like instead of throwing a big worm, you know, 8-10 inch worm, or instead of throwing like a beaver bait that doesn't have any sort of action, this is kind of in between. And I know guys like to throw some of these that are a little bit bigger on beds. I think actually the Missile Bait Destroyer, I was just talking to somebody about those, but ton of these on the market. That's something to try. Hopefully that helps out, man. Thank you very much for the donation. But these are some that I want to try very soon. I've not got to throw those yet. They look cool. They stink though. Let's see. My guy Ray said more on the bait making side of things. What airbrush do you prefer for painting, and do you like it? Why not? So Ray, I've only used 2 airbrushes. I've got the Iwata Eclipse. Actually, I'm sorry, I've used 3. The Iwata Eclipse, which is like an awesome do-it-all airbrush. I got mine on sale. My old lady had a coupon to Michael's here in town. Regularly, they're like $150, so not cheap. The Badger Patriot, I've not used, but I've heard is like a killer do-it-all kind of airbrush like that. But I got it cheap. It wasn't even a master. Like master's kind of the more entry-level airbrush. I bought another one. It wasn't a master, but the problem with it, and I'll go over this on a video, is like where you actually pour the paint into the little cup. On these cheap airbrushes like the actual hole because it's gravity fed, right? So you put your paint in there, and the paint by gravity just drips down into where your needle is, and that's how it sprays it out. But in between each time you use paint, you have to clean out in the middle of that like cup, and the hole is so small on some of those cheap ones you can't get in and like thoroughly clean in between. And Randall's on. There he is. Sorry, dude. You can't get in and thoroughly clean each time. So that's something that I've not heard people talk about as far as like bait making. Maybe people talk about it in airbrush stuff, but I'll go over that soon. I actually owe you some baits, Ray. So make sure you message me on Instagram. I tried to get you to grab me last time, but send me a message. I want to make sure I have your stuff. I know I owe you a couple from last time, but I will go over that. So what else, Ray? And then I saw another one. Hey, my guy Nick. He is also a frog fan. Yes, sir. And did you say the SLX DC? I think you did. Nick, he stole the SLX DC. That's okay.
Yep. By force. It wasn't by force. It was
by force. You threatened to push me in. You guys ready for the cicada invasion? I actually want to try painting some cicada lures. We've got like the 17-year cicada thing. It's like just barely touching Iowa. I don't know that we'll really see any of it. But interesting story. I was younger. I don't remember what age when we had a cicada hatch. I don't remember what brood it was. But the girl that I grew up with, like 2 houses down, I essentially called her my sister. I was super good friends with her parents. They had a cabin. We would go to their cabin and hang out. And it just happened to be one of the times we were at their cabin. They had these like, farm ponds when this hatch went down, and fish were destroying these cicadas, like catfish, everything in the pond. So I can't help but think like this cicada hatch, fish are going to have to eat those, right? The only problem is with there being so many of them, are they going to want a lure over the real thing, right?
Maybe next year would be a good year to use them, like the year after.
I don't know.
Like, what do you mean by is this like a super hatch? What is? I've never even heard of this before in my life.
Oh my gosh. I'll talk to you after. There's like a big, huge 17-year or 13-year cicada hatch going on where these cicadas literally come out of the ground in swarms every like 13 years. There's different like levels, broods of them. There's like a 17-year, 13-year, I don't know, 8-year. How have you not? Oh my gosh. Okay, Dizzle under a rock on that Walmart connection. I'll catch up with him afterwards.
I don't feel comfortable right now. I'm just saying.
Okay, Rob with the 20 bomb. Hey, thank you, my friend. I can honestly say that you have taught me so much. As soon as I found your channel, the biggest thing you taught me was to just get out and spend time on the water. My goal this year is to fish at least 10 hours a week. Dude, that's an awesome goal. And it doesn't even have to be in big increments. Rand Dizzle preaches this. I preach this. Even if you only have an hour to fish, like there's been times where I've only, had an hour to go out and I've caught a big fish. There's days where I go out like today and we fish for 7 hours and I catch 4 dinks.
So I just want to add to that real quick. There is such a thing as too much fishing. I'm sure people will disagree with that wholeheartedly, but was it last year, the year before? I was getting out 3 times a day. I was going out in the morning before work. I was cutting out quick on lunch. And these are like the morning, I'd get a good, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours in. On lunch, it was like 45 minutes. And then after work, I was, off at 5 fishing until dark. So like 3 hours or so. I got to a point where I was like, I've done everything I know how to do. Nothing's biting, and I just started getting down on myself. And there is too much fishing, but always get out and fish. I would always recommend even 30 minutes, 20 minutes, go and do it. If it's quick, personally for me, those quicker little trips are a lot better than stringing together a multiple day session of like a 2 hour here, a 3 hour there, maybe like a 4 hour later or something along those lines. If you're not just going to fish solid all day.
Yeah, even if you don't have a lot of time, like that's the perfect deal to just bring like one rod and something that you want to focus on and just do that for an hour, right? Because if you've only got an hour to fish anyway, just take that out, only that, and you're not second guessing yourself. You're not like tying different stuff, messing around, wasting your time. You've got one thing.
Perfect thing. You just throw some extra baits in your cargo shorts and you get out there and you fish.
Yeah, you are grandfathered into the cargo short thing. You do pack lots of baits into your cargo shorts. That's okay. So, Rob, thank you very much, man. I know you've donated before. I appreciate you, brother. I'm glad my tips have helped. I've told you all before, I am no pro, but I'm happy to share whatever I have to try to help you guys out. So, it means a lot to me.
Ting, ting.
Ting, ting. What else? We got, somebody said, yeah, Reaction Innovations makes it. What was the guess here? Oh,
was it the Little Dipper?
No, there really is a man bear pig. Yes, Reaction Innovations man bear pig. I don't have any close to me. I've got some over there, kind of buried. My fishing stuff, if you can't tell, is kind of a mess right now. Like legit, dirty, super dirty. I need to clean up. It's kind of.
I was gonna ask if Mr. Stubbs just like got into a little dog nip and went crazy down there, but
no, it's just Debo moving stuff, trying to do vidges and such. What else? Okay. Draco, what baits would you use for river fishing?
Ooh.
That's tough because like it depends on the river. So I remember we had a spot down here by me where there was a great like little peninsula, you'll call it. A little like spot we could go out on the river. Me and my buddy used to fish it after work. And there was like a little hole there. And like I was just threw like a big 3-inch grub on a jig head because you're going to lose. Be ready to accept that fact now. If you fish rivers, you're going to lose a lot of baits, period.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're somebody who doesn't like to fish rivers, don't fish them. Or if you're somebody who doesn't like to lose baits, don't fish rivers because you're going to lose a lot. But like a crankbait, something where you're just barely ticking the rocks, like if you're casting parallel to a bank, that's great. Throwing like literally like a fluke or like a big grub, 3-inch grub. Like the cool thing about rivers is you can catch a ton of stuff. Like I would go out for a night and catch largemouth, smallmouth, gar, drum. Like you don't know what you're gonna catch. Pike,
Catfish.
Around here. Catfish,
Smallies.
yeah. So Randall, I know you fish them on like a tube. Like my finesse for the rivers was a tube. And that's before I like really got into the Ned rig game. But I mean,
yeah. So personally for me, I'm gonna, if I'm gonna hit the river, I'm gonna want a square bill or like a DT4, DT6, one of those two, depending on the actual river itself. Honestly, I've had a lot of luck recently with a chatterbait on the river as well, just because if you can find those little pockets, those little areas of more still water where it's a little bit deeper, you can call something up. But jigs, obviously. And this, okay, I hope everybody's sitting down. I would say if I'm going out onto the river, there's a 50-50 chance I may not even take a jig rod with me, just because I know it's probably a 90% chance I'm going to break off on it instantly. And I would rather just throw a crankbait. That's one of those times where I just love cranking, banging off of rocks, banging off of logs. It's one of those things I like.
Banging. Randall's will tell you.
Banging.
My guy Michael Harris, what casting reel do you recommend for $150? Hey, everybody, do me a solid. If you haven't checked out my latest video, I just did a review on the Lew's LFS Speed Spool. That video didn't get any traction. Do you guys not want to see more reel reviews? I figured that would have taken off. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Show me some support on that. Give a thumbs up. I'm going to do more regardless. I'm a gear nerd. I might have a couple reels back over there. You can't really see them. My guy, Nick Costa, that was in here, just hooked me up with some reels for a super good price. So Nick, thank you very much to you and your buddy. But I've got more reels coming. $150. That's actually an awesome spot, Michael, because I think you get the best bang for your buck at $100. But then you start stepping up to like, I'm sorry, was that, who was it? Chris? I'm sorry, I forget who it was, but was just talking to him about the Daiwa Tattooeless CT, which is just past $100. And he was looking at it at one of his local shops, and I was talking back and forth. He ended up getting it, and he's like, dude, I freaking love it. Thank you so much for the help. Like, that blows my mind that I'm just a guy who fishes and can give my like opinion on this stuff, that I've used and helped people. So That was a
What's that?
roundabout answer. Go ahead.
What's that orange lose combo that you have? That thing was like $100 total, rod and reel.
Oh
And
yeah,
I've thrown it a few times, and that thing is solid, man. You don't.
yeah. The Xfinity. It's $100, like a
Yeah.
$99 deal from Walmart.
Mhm.
Like the thing you have to remember is that, like, I'll have guys who are using a Corrado. Okay, so $170, $180 bait caster alone, and then they'll pick up a combo like that and be like, "Oh, this is night and day difference." That's right, it is. It should be right. That
Of course, yeah.
bait caster alone, is probably like a $50-ish bait caster. So you have to keep that in mind. I feel like some people kind of have pipe dreams when they start getting into gear,
Mhm.
and it's tough because like there's some things like the Lose Mock Crush like makes no sense. I don't know what Lose was thinking with that graphite frame. You've got wind knobs and it's a nice reel. Like Randy's got one, and I've used it. Cool reel, but it's like 150, $160. Like makes no sense. Like I'd rather have an LFS for $99. So
I do have to
it's kind of
say,
all over.
what kind of grips come on the LFS? Is it the
Yeah,
wind
I know.
grips?
I've kind of converted you. You like the big
Oh,
round wind grips, like as
man,
opposed to the
there,
flat paddle knobs.
there's just something about being able to not pay attention to what you're doing and be able to just reach down, and they're big enough where you're gonna find them, but you're not gonna half sideways grab it and it's gonna slip when you try to set the hook. And Debo, really,
I've
you're
ruined
gonna
you.
get
I've tarnished you.
you're gonna
Michael,
get pushed in.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I actually got my Daiwa Tatula 150 on sale under $150. I'm sorry, my Daiwa Tatula 100 on sale. And that reel, I think regularly, I want to say is 159. I think I got it for like 110. I think if you can find that deal, that's a really hard reel to beat. But you've got like the Abu Garcia Revo SX, the Tatula CT, which like retails for 129. The Tatula 150. I don't know off the top of my head what it runs for. Man, there's a ton. I want to do some more comparison videos of those. So if you guys have stuff like that you want to see, like Michael, comment, let me know. I would love to get into more of that. Try to show those real reviews and stuff love for me. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know so I can keep those moving up to the top because I want to do more of those. It helps me a ton. So that's my shameless plug for the night.
And one thing, just also just
Yeah,
to
go
kind of
for it.
piggyback on that, is if you guys, really want to, I would recommend saying, get it in a left-hand retrieve. So when Debo's done testing it, I can just kind of throw it in my
You guys
truck
want to
and
donate
walk
to the
away
channel?
with it.
Yeah, I mean, Keith is kind of on the money. The Mock Crush is kind of poo for the money. I kind of agree. And it's like, I'm not trying to be like bashful of Lose. Love Lose. I've got a ton of Lose stuff, but like, yeah,
Mhm.
for the money, I don't think it fits there. Like, I think it's a reel that should be priced lower. And I know there's so much that goes into that, like from a company perspective. Like they've got wind grips on it. Wind grips are crazy expensive to add like onto a reel because these companies are getting reels from the same spot, the same manufacturer. You'll have a Lose made next to an Abu Garcia, made next to a Bass Pro Shops, made next to a Fluger reel, whatever it is. And literally these companies are going through a catalog saying, I want this, this, and this. And then of course they've got their own standards. So it's not the same reel, right? Each company kind of has their own standards of, I want, this in like, as far as like, I'm trying to think, I'm blanking. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on live. I
You
can't think of
want
the word.
like the grips or
No,
the
after you look through it. So like
okay, like the finish or the gear ratio,
no, the finish.
uh,
What's another word for finish? I'm blanking here. Feast and friends, help me out. I'm
the
gonna scroll down.
the
What's another word for
color,
finish?
fit and finish.
What are the people on the factory line where they check for finish? Like how
Just like the
I can't think of it.
quality.
Yeah, like quality control. Each company has
Yeah.
different like standards for quality control of like what they have, and that's the same way for that's I know exactly. what you're laughing at, Randall. Tolerances, yeah, kind of that same thing, quality control. But each company has like, so anytime you get into manufacturing stuff, you've got a certain number of like reels that aren't going to make it. I don't care if you're Daiwa, Shimano, Luz, you're going to get a lemon on any reel, right? I mean, it happens with any company, but different, you know, they have different ways that they're looking through that and labeling like the finished product.
Right.
This is a long, very roundabout quality control answer on this, but these reels can literally be made side by side. Different companies are making these kind of in the same deal. You know, we've heard Banex, Doyo, if you've gotten to the real stuff, but the deal is like, I like to just try stuff for what it is and tell you all. Some of the reels are kind of the same as a different reel with different handles and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got on this tangent, but yeah.
No, I totally agree with you, Debo. I think the biggest thing that you started out by saying is, you know, touching on those wind grips. So in my previous life, hobby life, I guess you would say, I golfed a lot. And there was at least once a season where I would go drop, I want to say I would say at least $100. And that was just to buy new grips so I could go home and cover my hands with gasoline, rip the old ones off, put the new ones on. And those were all wind grips. And those things, they're truly amazing. They're the way to go. Personally, in my opinion, there's just something about it. It has this sticky tackiness that isn't sticky or tacky, but it is at the same time.
I agree. I agree.
The second point I kind of want to cover is you touched on that quality control not hitting, you know, that pristine level. I know I've talked to you about it a lot before, the pure fishing in Okoboji. That is the Berkeley, blah, 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 whatever.
Berkeley, Abu, yeah, Pure Fishing is like the parent company to Fluger, Berkeley, Abu, like the main.
All of those. So if you guys have any of those stores like around you, that's definitely something to go look in, especially if you're looking to getting into, you know, like a higher dollar reel, or if you're going from like a spinning combo and you want to check out a bait caster, go check that stuff out. I don't know how many reels and rod combos I have that came from that Pure Fishing place, but I can't tell the difference. Maybe somebody that is, not to say this in a bad light, but like somebody like Debo that would actually know the difference and is like a huge nerd. He'd be like, oh, this is just off here and that's off there. And it's like, it's gonna fish the exact same. Go out there, check out those. And like I said, it's well worth it. Even if you got to take a little bit of a drive, I would definitely check those places out.
Yeah, we need to do a whole talk about that. And I need to get people who are like even smarter than me on the subject, because like when it comes to the fishing industry, it's really weird behind the scenes, because you've got a few companies that make like the baits, like like most of the baits. Like it's crazy when you think about it, but you've got a few companies that make most of the baits. You've got a few factories, whether it be in China, Korea, you know, you start looking at like purists will talk about Shimano and Daiwa have their own factories. But unless you get like as far as the US market, unless you start to get into the really high price reels, you're looking at Malaysia, Taiwan. But the thing I found with a lot of these is their quality control is just as good as a Japanese reel, right? So, yeah, dude, it's a whole rabbit hole we could go down. It would be a nerds only episode. But Evan, if you have a question, leave that. I'm going to scroll down. Oh, I don't know what that means. Leaders for Pike. Yes, I've got some steel leaders that I have. It depends on the bait, because like the steel leader is heavier, so it can kind of impact the bait. If I can get away with it, absolutely, I go with some sort of metal leader for those toothy critters around here. Sometimes I just live on the edge and let nature decide what's going to happen.
You lose your Dahlberg right away off that one.
I lose my Dahlberg off the dock and cry. Hold on, what a man! Bear is dead to me. Taco Besson said, "Hey, try everybody. It's great. It catches fish." No, it doesn't. Sorry, David. I'll have to disagree with you there. I'm a huge fan of Reaction Innovations. I'm not sponsored by them. However, if they want to sponsor me and drop a truckload of their baits in my driveway, which will never happen because they don't watch my stuff. I'd appreciate it. But dude, they do catch fish, David. And if you're wanting something to try like that, with that like man, bear, pig profile, try some of the Zoom baby brush hogs. Dude, I've caught so many fish on those before. And the man, bear, pig was something, actually, my guy Matt got me turned on to him 2 years ago, I think. He told me about them. I didn't even know they made them. So they do catch fish, but David, it depends on your area, what you're fishing around, like for everybody. And it's a confidence thing. Like once you start getting into baits, a lot of it literally is just like what you have confidence in a company. You know, you have a killer night on a brush hog and you're like, dude, Zoom plastics are awesome. I'm going to buy Zoom brush hogs. I'm going to buy the Zoom, whatever that thing is that looks like the Rage Menace, you know. But you look at people with Guggen stuff now. Like that's something I always chuckle at is like, if you're a Guggen fan, you have to love everything Guggen and be 100% Guggen or hate them, right? Like that's the big conundrum, the big quarrel, right? Randizzle's using Guggen stuff. He was just saying the other day he was using a trench hog on his chatterbait, and he's like, dude, this is cool. It looks different. I've never had anything like this. I'm like, go for it, man.
I think I caught a bunch that day on it just because it's a little bit different, you know?
And, you know, I've tried Guggen stuff like the Rattlin' Ned, I think is awesome. Again, you get into the whole kind of politics behind the stuff. I think there's jealousy and everything else. And I don't know. I don't have time for drama. I just want to fish and have fun.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, War Eagle jigs, War Eagle, give me a call. Let me know. Strike King, Rage trailers.
War Eagle and Strike King, send Randizzle a care package.
I love them. I'll always
send it to my P.O. box. I'll do the quality control on it first to make sure everything's there. So our boy Greg is another Iowa guy. Greg, it was nice to meet you the other weekend. I don't have a question. But thanks for all the info and everything else. The time you and Randy spent chatting and sharing knowledge and info tips is greatly appreciated. Thank you, dude. Thank you from another Iowa boy. I appreciate you, my friend. I am no pro, but I will tell you what I know.
Man, I don't know how many different ways I can just tell people how to throw a jig and jig, go slow, slow down. You're going too fast, slow down, slow down. But guys, if you guys want to ask a question, just ask a question and I'll tell you to slow down. That's pretty much what it's going to be. But it's awesome. It's awesome that you guys, reach out to us and, thanks, man. Awesome.
It does. It means a lot. Resta asked if I've ever reviewed the SLX reel and rod. I did do a review on the reel. Awesome little reel. I like it a lot. I do have the rod. I have not done a review on it though. But I had the 7'2" heavy, I think it is. And again, you're getting into personal preference. Like I liked it. I used it for frogging. Zero issues with it. Fat Boy Fishing that I was just talking about in here earlier. He had one. He's like, dude, I couldn't stand it. Like it was too tip heavy for me. I don't remember which model he had. He didn't like it, So it's like I can tell you guys and gals what I think of something, but ultimately a lot of times you just have to get something in hand, feel it, personal.
Yeah, you just got to use it.
Something personal.
That's the big difference between Debo and I. I've talked to him before, and he's like, "Duh, why don't you just order that on Amazon?" And I'm the type of guy. He's a young whippersnapper, and I'm an old guy that I want to go and I want to literally I want to touch
3
it in my
years younger
hands.
than you.
I want to feel it. I just want to, man, I just want to touch it. Wait, that sounded bad, but I want to get my hands on. That sounded even worse. I don't feel comfortable with just ordering stuff online. It's a big difference between us two, and
Hey, I live on the edge. I order stuff and just hope for the best. Is it Apostate? Apostate Fishing. I watched it, loved it. Hard to buy anything other than the SLX or Fuego CT. Dude, both of those are super solid reels. And that's the thing I kind of chuckle at is I'll do a review. I just did that LFS review and I was like, is it the best $100 reel? Question mark, right? Is it or is it not? And people are like, dude, you're so wrong. It's not the best. Never in the video did I say it's the best reel at $100. So it's a top contender. I think it's easy to use. But, dude, I own the Fuego CT and SLX, and both of those reels are killer. There's certain things I think about magnetic brakes that are better than the SLX with centrifugal brakes, but I don't know. I kind of chuckle at that stuff. My guy Philip, another huge supporter of my channel. Philip, I will be doing the Blueback Project Blueback Herring book. Joke between us. So if you've ever talked or seen Project Blue Book, he sent me a bunch of blueback herring stuff. There's certain blueback herring lakes. I'll make the connect when I do the video. But anyway, Phillips at $150 reel, Paul Elias reel from Bruin. I didn't get on that deal. There was a deal for them and FX Custom Rods, I think. I didn't get on it, but Philip and I talked back and forth. He's got it. Yeah, it's a reel that I've never heard of. It looks solid, though, on paper. Super solid reel. Let's see. Oh, Will, I'm guessing you're talking about the LFS. I'm way behind. But he said, are you kidding? I watched it, messaged you on Instagram, and ordered it. Dude, I'm glad my vids can help people out like you. Mr. Junkin, you're also a supporter of the channel. I appreciate you, sir.
I just want to say, Fat Boy, I don't know if he was asking a question or making a statement of the best budget fluorocarbon. And then, what was it? Tyler, I think it was Tyler maybe, said Cigar Red Label. Well, I have to agree with Cigar Red Label. But what was P-Line Tactical?
Yeah,
that's not budget whatsoever. But
no, not
that is silky. That, oh my Lanta.
Yeah, silky. I agree, man. Best budget fluorocarbon, Cigar Red Label, 100% fluorocarbon, Cigar Red Label. Mm-hmm. I spooled up Randizzle's SLX DC with some P-Line Tactical, which is like, I don't even know off the top of my head, 20.
I think I saw it 25, 27, somewhere around there versus 14, 15 for Red Label.
Yeah, Walmart used to have it for $10 unless they've changed it. Check Walmart, you can get a thing of Red Label for $10. But yeah, most of my reels, Cigar Red Label. I've dabbled in the P-Line stuff this year. I got some bulk stuff from them. The Blue Box and the Tactical, they're nice, but yeah, you're going to pay a little bit more. So
for some odd reason, I was going to say, for some odd reason, I have an absurd amount of 12-pound Red Label. I have no idea. For whatever reason, I go to the store and I'm like, I need 12-pound fluoro.
I need 12-pound. I now have 37 boxes of it. I want 15. Okay, let's get into some. I didn't realize we were over an hour, 11 minutes. Yeah, so I don't know what the deal with it. I've had multiple people ask me if I'm going to fish with Tyler's Real Fishing. Did he call me out? What's going on here? He made an Instagram post, which was actually, Tyler seems like a good guy. I've never met him. I've talked to him a couple times off, camera stuff. I've never met the guy. He seems like a real nice, down-to-earth dude, but he just put a huge Instagram post out deal of why don't the YouTube fishermen support people more, right? So we were just talking about Guggen and all these other clicky type deals, and it seems like there's feuds. I don't get into it. I don't have time for that. I've got a family and kids. I love everybody and try to be not into the feuds and that type of stuff. But he's like, why don't more of the YouTube people get together and fish? He's like, we could do a huge Tactical Bass and Fluke Master, him, me, Alex Rudd, all these huge names. And I'm like, I shared his post and I'm like, dude, I'm honestly just honored that you even mentioned me in the same name as the Guggens and Lojo and Yak Pack and all these guys that have 18 bajillion subscribers more than me. But he brought up a good point of why don't people work together more? And I've said that for how long? We've got enough people against fishing and against YouTube stuff. And I don't know. I don't know if he said other stuff on his channel. He wants me to fish with him. I would be down. I talked to him a while back. Maybe he likes me now. Maybe he doesn't like me now. I don't know, but I'd be down. So Tyler's Real Fishing. Yes. If you want to have a tournament, as long as there's a slot limit under 15 inches, I can catch those. If it's over 15 inches, I'll leave that to the pros Fluke Master and Tactical and Milliken. Those guys can do the professional series. I'll be in the amateur series. Let's see. These are my days. He asked a question, said, where was it? I just want to know his story, my story. Fat Boy said he's all Guggen. Oh, Yeah, so my guy Nick Fatboy Fishing, he is not a Guggen like supporter. He doesn't work with them or anything. He's just used their stuff, and he's like, dude, I don't care what you say. They work. They catch fish. I like them. He's a good, honest dude. Like, he just likes their stuff. And again, it comes down to personal preference. Like, there's no hating on him. There's no hating on the Guggens. If you like their stuff, great, use them. Go catch fish. If you don't like their stuff, use something else and forget about them. You know, like I don't know why people got to get on and hate. I don't know.
You know, I'm in your same boat, Debo. I'm just gonna let you, you know, take a step down off the soapbox, buddy. It's okay. Breathe.
Good Lord, I know.
So the big thing with me is I don't care what kind. Like, I have bags of plastic lures that have 6 different types of lures because, you know, I'm going to throw something in my cargo pocket and I wanted a couple of these, a couple of those, and a few of these. And so I throw them all into one empty bag that just happened to still be in my, you know, tackle box. And I throw them all in there and I go and use them. The big thing for me is durability. Yes, I love the fact that baits will catch fish, but I will take a bait, personally for me, I'll take a bait that I'll have to work just a little bit more. That's going to last 2, 3, maybe 4 fish if I'm lucky, like a soft plastic, versus one that I'm going to catch one fish and it's just blown out. And granted, sometimes I get to the point where if it's a trailer, it'll pull off the top where, you know, it hooks up next to the weight where, you know, theoretically I could pinch off that bit and, you know, rehook it for a little bit smaller profile of a bait. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if I can't catch 1 or 2, 3, 4 fish off of one soft plastic, I kind of feel gypped on it. But I'll also say in that exact same breath, I like some of the Guggen baits. Some of them work really, really well. And actually, one of the things that I'm excited for this year is those, as you talked about earlier, those weightless frogs. I personally have always loved the weightless frogs. I'll throw it on a big EWG, like a 4 or a 5/0 hook.
Yeah, you have
And
been a fan of those.
I'll just throw those.
What Strike King calls it. Let me grab one just so people know. We've talked about it enough.
Yeah. So I think Strike Kings they have 2 of them. They have a toad and a frog. Personally, I think it's just a rage frog is what I've used. And then you got like the ribbits. Ribbits have a toad and a frog. I'm trying to think of the other. I know Rage has, you know, that, and then Rage has a shad as well, which literally is just a shad with a big flapping tail. Those things I have had amazing luck on, but the durability is trash. Like one hit because it skinnies down so much from the tail to the body that one strike, and if you don't catch it, it's pretty much done for.
Organized chaos here. Rage Toad. That's what they are. The Strike King. Rage Toad. Trust me, that's what it says. Rage Toad. So if you've never thrown one of these, like these are cool. It gives a whole different look to topwater frogging because I think people hear frogging and you think like a big soft plastic floating deal or a big hollow body, you know, frog deal. But there's also the whole soft plastic side of it. So literally like any sort of, you know, creature bait or worm that you'd pick up, like this is just a soft plastic deal like you'd rig, and you tear these apart. And it's got the rage flanges, you know, the little deals there, and you throw it, and it just makes like a real subtle plop. And a lot of people I've talked to have never even thrown these, like didn't know they exist for frogs. So there's like these, the Zoom horny toad. Most companies, you know, kind of have their
ribbits.
Ribbit, all the ribbit stuff, Stanley stuff. But it's a whole different like type of frog thing you can get into, and literally you're just casting them out and reeling them in.
And one of the big things is you know, I talked about, you know, a Guggen bait earlier not holding up as well. I'll say the exact same thing about those frogs that you just showed. As you huff the delicious coffee scent of them,
nothing smells as good as the Rage coffee scent.
Oh my god!
I'll die on that hill. I will die on that hill. Nothing smells that good.
I will say that their durability isn't the best. You know, once you pull that little tab from, the end of the foot from the leg, you got maybe 1 strike or 2 strikes before you're missing a leg or you're missing both
But
legs.
again, you have to take into consideration what it is. Like, it's a tiny piece of plastic. I don't care if it's Zoom, if it's Strike King, if it's Guggen, like a little tiny piece of plastic like that. So that's why I don't know. We're going down this is a whole different line.
Yeah, totally. It's, you just got to take a step back and think about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like anything. Everybody's got their opinions, but hey, we're here to love each other and have fishing friends and make fishing fun, not war, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And one other thing I want to bring up, I just want to let everybody know that, today when Debo and I parted ways, I did say, hey, buddy, I love you.
Hey,
he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything to me. And I said, hey, buddy, you know what? That hurts. You didn't say it back.
Yeah, I just gave him a wink, and that was it. Got to leave him hanging. You can't just call him back right away. How do you feel about P-Line CXX? I do like P-Line CXX. It gets memory really quick, though. So it's nice if you like to put new line on a lot, or if you want something that's super duper tough, but it does get memory pretty bad. So if you hate
what
memory,
were you doing today? Where you hooked it up to your what was that all about?
Yeah, so I had some old P-Line CXX on a reel, and if you hook it up to I hooked it up to my truck and walked it back 50, 60 yards and just started stretching it. And if you stretch that line really good, it takes a lot of that memory out, those curls in your line. Like if you flip it out and it's got a bunch of curls, that's what I'm talking about memory. And if you stretch that out, it'll take a lot of that memory out. So it made it fine for today. So if you've got old line like that, fluorocarbon especially, if you'll look silly doing it, but hook it to the back of your truck and walk back 50 yards and stretch it all out. It takes that memory out for a while, for the day or whatever, until you can respool it. So
again, Debo, like my young child out there, I took 6 steps.
Referring to how far I could stretch it before it broke. Let's see. Is Invisex budget? I don't know, but I use it and like it. Yeah, so Invisex, I wouldn't say is budget. So you've got Cigar Red Label, Cigar Invisex is above that. Most people, I would say the standard, the best all-around line, no matter what, if you're okay with going a little bit above budget, is Cigar Invisex. That's kind of the benchmark, I guess I would say, when you talk to most people. Then you've got things like the P-Line Tactical. You've got other Japanese fluorocarbons like the Sensi. Is that P-Line? I don't even know. That might be Cigar. There's all kinds of them out there. Try different stuff. Find what you like, but I don't know.
I know. At one point in time when Gander was going out of business, you would convince me to go over there and buy X, Y, and Z and whatever. And I was looking at lines, and I had bought some. Mr. Pink Floyd had mentioned the Yoziri lines. I personally, I don't care for it.
Really?
I had issues with it, and I don't know if I just had a bad spool or what it was. I don't know. I didn't care for it. That's just, and I think I still have, the majority of a spool left,
you can give it to my line. I've had good luck on the Top Knot, and that's kind of in between as far as price. I want to say a thing of Top Knot is $14, so it's cheaper than Invisex. What is Invisex? I don't even know off the top of my head what Invisex is. 18? I don't even know, but dude, we could get. There's so many questions coming in. I can't believe we're at an hour 23. We still have 225 people watching. You guys are freaking awesome.
Just touch on Braid real quick, because I know you actually said specifically today you were trying a new braid and.
Oh yeah. So if you remember a while back, I don't even remember when that was. I got some Dominate, which is kind of funny. It's an 8-strand braid, so it's Dominate. Get it? On Amazon, cheap stuff. They had during the Amazon sales, I bought some, never heard of it. I don't even know who makes it, but I've had people ask me about it before. So I got it. And I was throwing it today on my frog combo, 50 pound. And I'm like, dude, it feels kind of wonky. I backlashed a couple times throwing it. I'm like, I'm not sold on it. So I don't know. I don't know what the question was about Braid, but
just your favorite kind.
Best budget braid, I would say Daiwa J braid. Best budget braid you can get.
I have some Daiwa. I'll say the Daiwa J braid I have is probably 50, 55, somewhere around there. And I'll agree with you wholeheartedly that is it's good line. But if I'm going super heavy, I'm not going to use that. I just feel like once you get over that 50, for me anyway, once you get over that 50 mark, I just feel like,
guy, aren't you?
Yeah,
I like Power Pro. See, again, personal preference.
It's just what I feel comfortable with. If I, like 65 pound, I have 3 or 4 spools downstairs in my line carrier. It's like, see? Those are my Power Pro.
I would say the J braid's every bit as good as Power Pro. Personal preference.
And honestly, I feel like the Power Pro has that life that kind of continues season after season. In addition to that, the first time you throw it on a spool. Because I'm not going to burn through a bunch of braid every single year. Rarely will I, unless it's like a shallow spool, there's a very good chance I'm not going to re-spool anything that I have like a 65-pound braid on. You know what I mean?
Most of the time, no. Yep. I will agree with Alan. The Power Pro Super Slick. I've got the old stuff. So I know they've got, I don't know what they call it, Power Pro Super Slick V2, I want to say, something like that. I used the old stuff and loved it. I want to say I've got some of the new stuff. I don't remember if I put it on. I think I might have put it on my Sedona. I completely agree. Like 10, 15 pound, I think 15 is what I had on the old version. I agree. Super slick as far as like spinning stuff. Loved it. But somebody asked about, I don't know where it went. I don't even know where it went. Somebody asked me, oh, here we go. Cole, first impression of the Abu Garcia Max STX. I don't have the Max STX, but you might have a review coming soon of the Max X. What? It's a righty. You might want to try.
I was going to say that reels backwards and those grips are wrong too.
Just from messing around with it down here, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And they said this might be the reel to replace like the best beginner reel over the Black Max.
Really?
So, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see here. That coming soon, but I just got that one in. I'm liking it. What else do we have? Let's see. We're almost at an hour 30. Let's go with a couple more questions and then we're going to cut it. I can't believe we're at an hour and a half and we still have over 200 and some people in here. Y'all are too damn kind to me. What do we have? I'm going to go back and try to look at some stuff.
I'll say while you're looking, I've never used Super Slick at all. I've just used the regular Power Pro, and that, like I said, that'll be my go-to.
Yeah, I've only used the Super Slick stuff on my spinning reels.
Mm-hmm.
You could use it on the bait casters, but so Tyler asked, Tyler Varnell, sorry for the spam. Have you ever fished the Jackal Gantarelle? Favorite hard swim bait. I have fished the Gantarelle. Haven't caught anything on it. I suck at big jointed glide bait swim baits around here in Iowa. I think it's a very niche thing. I think the bite has to be just right to get on them. It's not like California, Florida, where you can throw those big baits. And, like here in Iowa, the PB personal best in Iowa, all of Iowa is like 10 pounds. What? 10 pounds something.
I would say it's just shy of 11. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 10 and a half, 10 and 3/4. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Under 11. It's a 10 pound something. I don't remember off the top of my head, but you've got guys in Florida or, Texas, Florida, whatever. They're catching over 10 pounders yearly. Right. And we've never beat that. So
right.
It depends where you're at. I think certain places, the glide baits and stuff work better. I'm not saying that it can't work here. I've had guys here in Iowa message me and say, dude, you need to throw the river to sea S waiver. You need to throw this and this. I've caught big fish on them. Personally, I just don't. It goes back to the confidence thing. I don't have confidence in the big glide baits and stuff yet. So,
and I'll say, Debo, where we differ, I've actually had some decent luck on the plastic jointed baits. I've caught fish on them. There was that one year where you got really cocky at that one lake, and you were like, "Oh, I caught this big fish," and it like spit the hook right at the shore. And I went back a couple of days later, and I caught it on a jointed plastic. I don't know. I feel more comfortable with that than, because I feel like it's a basic. I don't want to say it's a basic lure, but it's something that my simple mind can handle. You know what I mean? It's more of a kind of spinnerbait category in my head anyway, where it's just like a huck and wine kind of thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a couple good ones here, some good meat to get into. Nassim said Invizix is cheap at Academy. We don't have any Academies up here. I've bought some stuff from Academy online, but yeah, if you can get Invizix at $12.99, that's a good price. Invizix is good stuff. Sunline, I don't think it's Sniper. I've got some Sunline stuff. We had that comment from Mr. Bancroft. He was also talking to my guy Fat Boy Fishing. Peel and Tactical and Sunline are very much alike in my opinion. I've got some Sunline. I don't remember what it was. I had some 20-pound spooled up, and I like that stuff. I forgot all about Sunline. I haven't used it a ton. But my first couple times using it, I was really impressed. And it was the white and blue box, whatever that is. It was not the Sniper, I don't think. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I liked it a lot. Like for the 20-pound, it wasn't super wiry feeling. I liked it a lot.
These are my days. Perfect point right there. The Power Pro, it does fade a little bit. But he said, what, 5 to 7 years old? My first bait caster that I have has Power Pro on it. If I were to guess, I've never changed it, and that was maybe 12 years ago. I haven't thrown it recently, but I would put it up against some of the newer stuff and be confident in using it.
Yeah, I still have yet to find, like, there's so many companies that make the claims of, oh, this is embedded into the braid. It's not going to fade. Like every braid I've used has fade. Like,
yep,
sometime or another it's going to fade out. So there was a couple others. I forget what they were that just recently came out. They said they were supposed to be not fade. I haven't tried them, but most of this stuff's going to fade. That's why, like, I want to say it was KVD a while back gave like the if you take like a black Sharpie, you can color, because braid, like if you use dark green, which is what I use a lot, it'll fade out to be like a white, but you can take like a Sharpie or a Spike It marker. Like I've got a black Spike It marker. You can color that and make braid black,
don't,
you know?
Please don't do that. Your thumb's gonna smell like crawfish or garlic or garlicky
That's
crawfish.
If you get it on it, just don't get it on you. Randall gets into it when he's doing it. Tyler, was it Tyler? Josh, no, it was Josh. Thoughts on the loose TP1 Black speed stick? He's asked that about 18 times. I'm sorry I have not gotten to it. I don't have one, but Randall does. I used it a couple times. It seemed like a super solid reel or rod.
Yes. I honestly, and again, I don't have any sponsors. I'm not one of those special guys, but I would say of all the Lew's, either rods and or reels that I personally own, I haven't come across one that wasn't worth the money that was paid for it. I mean, they're definitely worth it. Again, the only complaint that I have is thanks to Debo and his fanciness getting me hooked on those wind grips. Outside of that, I would honestly throw any left-handed bait casting Lew's that you put in front of me and feel confident in being able to cast it without any issues like backlashes or anything like that, minus a little bit of tweaking and just overall fishability. I think they're a great company. I mean, hey Lew's, if you're listening, maybe not.
Throw me
a brother up.
So yeah, I actually bought a couple of the Lew's. I don't have the TP1 Black. I know a lot of people talk about that. Actually, a couple people told me Tyler's Real Fishing talked about that as like his favorite. If you can go a little bit more, I have used these. I actually own 3 of these. I liked them so much. Good golly, the Lew's custom speed stick, they call it. All black, super simple. I am old school when it comes to rod looks. I'm literally, this is it. Like, it's black with a little bit of cork on it. Super boring, but I think it's cool. I think I have 3 of these. I liked them enough.
Is that
I got
cork or wind grips on there?
It's EVA with like a little bit of cork. So it's just regular old EVA, and then they have like kind of cork accents, I guess you call it. Gotcha. I like them. The only thing that I'm not sure about is what's kind of different about these. Normally you have your reel seat tightening nut up here. So you put your reel on and then you tighten it down right up here. This one doesn't have that. And I actually liked it because it was super comfortable. So you can see it's got this like exposed reel seat type thing. So this is all exposed down here. The way you actually tighten, I need to do a daggum review on this, is right here. It's actually in back. So it's kind of cool. It's out of the way. My only problem is if you ever strip this out, this rod's completely toast.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of the same thing with other rods, but I so far haven't had an issue on the 3 that I own. But I love these, man. Like, for the money, I think these are like $150. I think the TP one's like 120. I love these a lot. This is probably my favorite Lew's rod that I've used. I've got like the $200 one, and I think for the money, like, this is sweet, super comfortable. But
realistically, I might have to minimize this chat that's going on because there's people talking about St. Croix and this and that. But I will say, I missed who it was. Somebody brought up Mojo's.
St. Croix Mojo.
William Sully. Thoughts on St. Croix Mojo bass rod. So there's, as far as I know, and it's been a while since I bought a new one, there's a Mojo and then there's a Mojo bass. And again, I apologize for my ignorance, but one of them is like purple accents and the other is a blue accent. I've never had any of
Bass
the
X. Bass X.
Bass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bass X is like their $99 rod. The Mojo's like 120, which
120,
is like
25. Yeah.
That's your crankbait rod that you had with that.
Yep. I had a crankbait rod and I had a like a Texas rod or a Texas rig rod. I loved them. They were amazing. There's nothing wrong with either one of them that I have. They can definitely be put back in the rotation. It's just like one of those things where you got a new one, you got a replacement, and then you start using that one and you like it a little bit more and you forget about the other one that's in the back of the closet or whatever. But I would say if you have the extra money and you want to throw down on a Mojo, I would definitely do it. They have the warranties as well. I think a Mojo's 5 or 10 years. I don't remember which one for certain, but if you get those, just like any other reel, make sure and pay attention to those little hangers that you get on the reel. Sometimes they're warranties and they help you out quite a bit.
Yeah, that little paper deal. I've got people asking questions. So my guy Philip said I had a rod that tightened like that years ago. That's funny because like companies do go through waves like that, right? You know, for me, I don't think I've ever owned one like this, but doesn't mean that hasn't been done before. And I about broke the tip off, tightening down here, you know, instead. Like I've got some of my old man's old
pistol grips.
Knocked a picture off. Pistol grips. Yeah, dude, those were awesome. I love the pistol grips. Old reels that, you know, have some of the same stuff you see today. So that stuff kind of goes and comes in waves. I had people asking about really above Dobbins. Dobbins makes awesome stuff. The Dobbins Fury line, one of the best budget rods you can get. Used to be like $99. I think now they're $119. They raised them a little bit, but
there was one reel. I don't remember if it's one that I have or it's one that you have, but it's like it's got a split tightening where you would loosen it, like the whole thing, and then you would essentially take apart that. I don't even know. The handle where you'd actually grip the rod is split into two spots. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No, I don't know. You lost me. Yes is my answer. Yes.
It's a split tightener.
Mr. Floyd's right. Dizzle will probably end up being sponsored by Guggen sometime soon.
Oh my gosh.
We had a bunch of people asking about 6 cent stuff. I've got the MFR rod I've been using. I got the whatever the other 6 cents is back there. I actually haven't even had it out.
What was that soft plastic? Like this morning, we're getting ready to fish, and Debo, being the gent he is, takes a soft plastic off of whatever bait he was using, and he like chucks it at my face, and I dodge it, of course. But and then we're yeah, and then we're like out there fishing, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of these?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's that one I chucked at your face earlier this morning."
Yeah, I was talking about it was my first time using the 6 cents. I think it's the stroker cod that has like the 2 twin tail grub legs on it. I was out fishing the other day and used it, and it was like all ripped up. So I threw it at Randy, and he's like, "Oh, an hour, 2 hours later, hey, have you ever heard of these? These are kind of cool." I'm like, "Dude, that's the exact same thing I literally just threw at you 2 hours ago."
Hey, Devo, don't you have a spinning St. Croix Triumph spinning rod?
I do. Yes, I do have the new one. So those used to be an old St. Croix rod there for a while. And I want to say I had one of those used. Then they stopped making it and they came out with a new one.
Yeah, my first, I guess, big boy rod that I bought, it was like just under $100, was a St. Croix Triumph. It was 7-foot spinning. That thing's a beast. I still use it. We did last year, I think we did a spinning bait challenge, or spinning rod challenge, I should say. And Debo's much more of a spinning guy than what I am, and he beat me in it. But I had my Triumph out that day.
All right. Well, let's do one more question. I can't believe we still have 230 people. Y'all are too damn kind. At an hour, almost an hour 40. I should have had a giveaway lined up for tonight. I appreciate you all so much. We had donations tonight. Awesome participation. Let's do one more fun question. Let's what else do we have to talk about tonight? Lures that were working, lures that weren't working. Then we got off on 17 different tangents. Rods. I'm just going to scroll down all the way to the end and see. Also, you threw a piece of pine cone. I did throw a pine cone at Randizzle. Did you know watching that video? I didn't even tell him about it. So
he threw which one?
Yeah, so he doesn't even know, Fisha friends. I didn't even tell you about this. I just put it in the video. You guys think like all this stuff actually happens and we talk about it. So this was the day I ended up. This is the day you pouted and went back to the truck and sat. And I was still catching fish on the spinnerbait.
Oh, the day we were going to move to a different lake. And you're like, yeah, I'm coming right up. I'll be right behind you. And I was like, cool. My socks are soaking wet because I stepped in whatever and soaked through my shoes. And I don't want to get jungle rod or whatever. And you're like, yeah,
boots,
I'm right behind you. No big deal.
Anyway.
45 minutes later.
Yeah, so you haven't. Hey, now you're proving you're not a true DEBO'S fishing friend. You haven't watched that video either. I couldn't catch a fish. This was right before I started catching fish, but I think I caught one. And I was like, well, since it's a slow day, I picked up this pine cone and you're walking ahead of me, and I throw it at you and hit you like in the back of the butt. And you're like looking around like, what in the heck? I'm like, what's wrong, bro? You're like, I think something just fell out of my pocket. And I'm like, I'm back there laughing. You're like looking all around. Anyway,
FYI, I'm looking up kilts right now. I don't know. What's the proper length? Is it 28, short, 30, 32?
10 inches is the perfect kilt.
I'm wearing a 10-inch kilt.
10-inch kilt.
Oh my god.
What else? Let's see. Good question. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for being great feature friends. JT's getting out of here. I see our numbers starting to go down. You guys are too dang awesome. I want to get to one more question. I said I would. I don't think Debo has Fenwick rods. People must have asked me about Fenwick rods. I had the HMX and actually gave it to a buddy. I thought it was okay. I mean, I've not dabbled in a bunch of the Fenwick stuff. Actually, Fenwick, I believe, is another subset of pure fishing that we were talking about earlier.
Yep. I have a couple of Fenwicks from there, yeah.
So again, same thing, same company that owns them. But I had the HMX, and I think the HMG, I want to say, is the other one. And I gave both of those to a buddy.
Debo, are you footing the bill on these kilts?
How much are kilts?
The first website I went to, which is usakilts.com,
Sounds legitimate.
they
I trust that.
they range from $99.99 up to, are you sitting down? You are, I can see you. $999.99.
I'll foot the bill on $100 kilt. I will not buy you a $1,000 kilt.
The $100 kilts are they're short. I'll look around.
Yes. 10-inch kilt. That's what I want Randozolin soon. My guy Nolan's Baits. So Nolan's Baits is ridiculously awesome at making stuff. Super talented. If you haven't checked him out on Instagram, that gentleman can certainly, and he makes all of his own baits. So dude has a ton of talent. I respect you, young man. You have a career in that, I would say. What else? $300. Favorite Dobbins series. I've really used the Fury stuff the most. I just got the Champion, which is like a $200 rod, and then that
the Dobbins Fury is
Fred
Rambanus.
Nice. Yeah, the Rambanus, which I think is like essentially the same Hellabass said. I haven't done a ton of that stuff, but and the Colt. You have the Colt, which was a solid rod budget.
Yep. Definitely.
Get one with the pouch. All right, we are digressing here. Chris says make sure you get a kilt with a pouch. Dude, you can do the kilt fishing challenge. You can have your kilt pouch that you carry baits in instead of your cargo shorts.
I'm looking at sportkilts.com right now.
Kilt with pouch fishing challenge. Cops called. Guggen baits only.
Holy cow! Like
That's
this is
video soon.
All right, thanks. I won't get any sleep tonight because I'll be Googling kilts all night long. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's like cargo shorts. Tanner says it's like cargo shorts, except for the short part. Essentially the same, except you don't have a crotch sewed in the middle. Hey, my guy Ray. Ray, I've got a care package for you to help with the kilts. Check out the Utilakilts. I have 4 of them. Dude, Ray's another kilt guy. I have 4
Ray,
of them.
come on now.
I have 4. Love them all. Also, good night. All right, Ray, thank you so much, man. I will get you a care package out. Everybody else, thank you all so much for joining. We're almost at 2 hours. I can't believe it, for a night of debauchery and off on completely different tangents than I thought. I appreciate you guys. Love you all. Thank you all for watching. And until next live.